evening, Black people and all allies fighting for Black liberation, Black prosperity, and Black joy. I'm Charles Blow, and welcome to Prime. We start tonight with some sobering and tragic news, a story that has been dominating the news all day, the deadly condo collapse near Miami Beach. At least one person was killed and many others are feared dead. Police say 99 people are still missing after the 12-story beachfront building collapsed in Surfside just after 1 a.m. this morning. It's unclear how many people were in the tower when it fell. Officials say crews will continue to search throughout the night. BNC will have continuing coverage throughout the day tomorrow. Now, in the latest news out of Washington, President Biden acknowledged today that his party is divided after it officially endorsed an infrastructure spending bill reached by a bipartisan group of senators earlier today. Listen to this.
The bipartisan bill from the very beginning was understood there's going to have to be the second part of it. I'm not just signing the bipartisan bill and forgetting about the rest that I proposed. I proposed a significant piece of legislation in three parts. And all three parts are equally important. And by the way, my party, everybody tells me what my party is. My party's divided. Well, my party is divided. My party's divided, but my party is also rational. If they can't get every single thing they want, but all that they have in the bill that before them is good, are they going to vote no? I don't think so.
Now, the deal that he was approving of today significantly scaled down many of his initial proposals. Here's a partial breakdown of what's in it. Transportation, roads and bridges, and water infrastructure investments have all been slashed. Biden's climate investments have also been pared down, which progressives like AOC and others pushed for. For example, Biden's plan had originally called for spending $174 billion to boost the electrical vehicle market. The bipartisan plan instead will not only invest $15 billion. And the plan also called for $73 billion to upgrade the power infrastructure, including building and establishing a new grid authority. The original White House plan would have invested $100 billion. Democrats now say that passage of this bill depends on and is tied to passage of a Democrat-only reconciliation bill that has more of the features they favor. The president says he agrees both bills should be voted on in tandem. But all of this is up in the air. In fact, compromise is in the air. Tim Scott, Cory Booker, and Karen Bass released a statement today, just one day before the Senate's 2-week recess, that they've reached an agreement on a framework on police reform. But they didn't release specific details on what will be in their agreement, and it's still unlikely that the final version will include ending qualified immunity. All of the things that progressives said that had to be in these deals will, I suspect, ultimately not be in these deals, and that will be a big loss for the progressive wing of the Democratic Party. Maybe Biden will be okay with all this. He is a moderate after all this is said and done. But what will become of the progressive agenda and the much needed progressive energy? Joining me now to discuss is human rights activist and artist Bree Newsome Bass. Bree, how are you?
I'm good. I'm here. I'm like a lot of people hanging in, but really glad to join you.
Thank you. So how do you feel about what's coming out of D.C. now? There seems to be a lot of compromise bills bubbling up right before this recess. Are you confident that the Democrats will be able to do what they are saying they will be able to do? For instance, on infrastructure, Biden is saying, I will not sign this compromise bill without the reconciliation bill. But out of the same mouth, he's saying, my party is rational, and if they get part of what they want in the bill, why wouldn't they vote for it? But he wouldn't sign it. So I just don't understand. How confident are you that what they are saying they're going to do is what's going to happen?
Well, am encouraged by the fact that they at least seem to be holding some kind of line here around reconciliation. That itself is a new development, because for the most part, it has been Republicans just steamrolling through, whether they are in the majority or the minority. Biden is probably the one that I have the least amount of confidence in, though, in holding that line. So I think the question is going to be, as we go forward, are they going to blink? Or are they really going to hold that line and refuse to sign off on this bipartisan bill unless we also get what we need in reconciliation? And the thing about compromise, I mean, this is kind of what Biden ran on as his platform. He was uniquely positioned to achieve this compromise, kind of hearkening back to the days when, he could shake hands with Trent Lott and Strom Thurmond. And the problem with that is, what are we compromising with? We're compromising with a party that is unabashedly pushing a white nationalist agenda, that has made it very clear that they are against the very idea of democracy. So to me, this is not simply about achieving victories for a political party. It is really about, are you going to stand up for civil rights and the idea of representative democracy and majority will? It's so much bigger than just Biden being able to check off a win in his column.
Yes. And listen, I will give him this, and the Democrats and Republicans who worked on this bipartisan bill. We do need to spend some money on our roads and bridges. Some of these bridges are literally falling into the rivers that run beneath them. So, some money, any money, let's put some money on those bridges so that things don't fall down. That said, though, how you finance it is a huge deal. And whether or not you take it from money that's already been allocated to other sources, which it seems like what they're saying they're going to do, because they're saying that they're not going to raise money on the tax on the middle class, which Biden said he refused to do, and they're not going to claw back some of these tax breaks from corporations, which Republicans have said that are off limits. So then what's left, right? So there are real fundamental philosophical questions that have to be answered. And I guess the question becomes, is there a point at which you just say, I have to accept something? Even though this is not good, do we just accept that because we do need to fix some roads and bridges?
I would actually say no. I would actually argue no, because I think there is also a point at which, yes, something is better than nothing, but something can also not be enough. Like, it's fundamentally not enough. And that is a lot of what is happening right now. Like, we are running up against concrete realities in terms of what people need versus what we are receiving. We have the wealthy have to pay their fair share of taxes. We can't keep kicking the can down the road. And so, yes, we could sign off of it and say, yes, we did something, but then the bridges are still going to collapse, and we're still going to have the crisis that we had, and we will have sacrificed more or compromised on more because we never took a firm-footed stance against this fascist onslaught that is coming from the Republicans. I mean, the things that we are compromising on, it makes no sense. It's not like there's any logic to what Republicans are putting forward. It's only taking away from what we actually need as a country right now.
So let's shift a little bit to the police reform bill. They have come out with this statement that they have some sort of agreement, but they're not telling us what's in it. But Tim Scott has been saying for a while that it is unlikely that, or hinting anyway, that it is unlikely that getting rid of qualified immunity would be in the final bill. Mitch McConnell has come out and said directly that there's no way that it should be in the final bill. Should Democrats accept and vote for a police reform bill that does not include a reform of qualified immunity?
Absolutely not. I mean, that is probably the strongest reform, if there's anything approaching reform in this bill. And in my view, it's another question of what is the point? Like, what are we trying to do? Is the goal to just say we did something so that politicians can say, oh, we passed this George Floyd Justice and Policing Act and then run for office on it? Meanwhile, the communities are in the same position that they were in before. So, I mean, again, I don't think that what is the Democratic Party agenda or what is, a win or an agenda for the politicians is necessarily aligned with what is a win for the community. And we have to be very clear about what that is. There's no purpose in passing a bill that's not going to address the problem.
So if we come out of this first part of the Biden administration and the first part of this Congress where they actually have control over both houses, even though those margins are very, very narrow, and the best they can get is a bunch of compromise bills that do not satisfy people on the progressive wing of the Democratic Party, what happens to the progressive energy going into the midterms and then into the next presidential election?
I mean, I think that the progressive energy remains strong at the grassroots level and in terms of what is happening in the social justice movements, but people are increasingly losing faith in the systems. They're increasingly losing faith in the electoral process. We were told in 2020 that what we had to do was basically crawl over broken glass, get the masks, feed the people in line, right? Everything that we had to do to be able to vote in the middle of a pandemic, in the middle of this onslaught, this effort to prevent us from voting, people did that. And then they turned out again in 2021 to deliver the Senate to the Democrats. So if we're not getting, any kind of follow through on the thing that people voted for, my concern is that there's going to be a drop off in voter turnout, especially combined with the efforts that Republicans are making at the state level. And then the Democrats end up losing control. And then I'm really concerned about what happens if the Republicans get another stab at the agenda. We already got a preview of it with the Trump administration. And the thing that I was constantly telling people about that 2020 election is that you can't assume it's going to be a repeat of the same. It's definitely going to be worse than what we saw before. And so I think that there is so much at stake. I think that they have to put down every kind of effort that they can. The Republicans don't hesitate in all in pushing for their agenda. They don't care that their agenda isn't popular, right? Democrats have the backing of the majority of the country, like fight for it like everything depends on it, because it does.
See, that is my concern, which is that you'll have a dampening of enthusiasm on top of voter suppression efforts, which will be kind of really problematic, maybe even cataclysmic for Democrats in the midterms and possibly in the next presidential election. Anyway, Bree Newsome, always a pleasure. Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you for having me.